Last year, I finally graduated from uni, and while my mates started looking for full-time work, I started preparing for full-time travel. It's always been my dream to travel the world, eating, surfing, exploring. So I spent the past 4 months working as a pool lifeguard, planning and saving up for my trip. I'm going to be travelling around South and Central America to explore the waves, culture and food on offer there.
Yeah.
Así que vamos una aventura grande. Benvindo ao Rio. In the first episode of my South American adventure, we're going to explore some of the main attractions of Rio. Spend a week volunteering in the Atlantic rainforest, hike some awesome trails on Ilha Grande, and finally experience incredible colonial architecture and waterfalls in the city of Parachi. It's my first day in South America, and we're going to the most iconic landmark in Rio. From Leme, me and Roberto, my not-so-local Brazilian friend from the hostel, took a cheap Uber to the Trem do Corcovado to catch a not-so-cheap tram that goes up to see the Christ statue. Bom dia, Brasil! Hoje estou aqui no CRISTO Redentor. CRISTO Redentor, or Christ the Redeemer, was created by French sculptor Paul Landowski between 1922 and 1931. It's 30 metres in height, plus it sits 700 metres high on the Corcovado mountain. The statue weighs a massive 635 tonnes. The views from the top were absolutely spectacular. We then headed back down the hill on the tram and hopped in an Uber back to the hostel. Behind CRISTO Redentor, Pão de Açúcar, or the Sugarloaf, is arguably the second most popular attraction in Rio. They've got a cable car that goes all the way to the top, but to save money, we decided to hike halfway to Morro da Orca and then get the cable car to the top. That's where we're going. The view from the top is awesome, but unfortunately for us, it was kind of cloudy, but that's Brazilian winter for you. Eu fico aqui em Babilônia do Leme. It's actually a favela here, but it's been like pacified, so it's really safe. Hoje nós outros gringos vamos a Copacabana e... First stop was to check out a hot dog place recommended by Mark Weens.
I'm wet and hot. I'm hot in the face and wet and hot.
We're getting very wet for this street food, so it better be good.
Try this, right? What is it called?
Mineiro.
Mineiro. This is very good. It's very tasty.
Alright, it's absolutely pouring. We have suffered for this hot dog, so it better be fucking good. This is so good. Next, we embrace some more rain in an attempt to buy some açaí.
Tenho dois amigos. Sim. Viva, viva!
Açaí na chuva!
So as you can see, we're absolutely soaked to the bone here, all for this beautiful açaí. It's so good. Açaí is a berry. It originates from the Amazon rainforest in Brazil. It's really popular here and it's super cheap too. On the west side of Praia de Copacabana lies the fort. Constructed in 1808, you can usually explore the top floor and get an awesome view of the beach. But because of the weather, we weren't allowed up and were restricted to the museum inside where you could see old war artifacts and also bribe some Brazilian politicians firsthand. Which one looks bribable?
The one. Make it rain.
You could also see some surfers catching a small wave off the point, but it was crowded and inconsistent.
Bom dia. Hoje vamos a Escadaria Serelon com mis amigos Claudia. Hola.
Today, I'm super lucky to be shown around Rio by Claudia, who I met while traveling in Indonesia. We started the day by checking out Escadaria Serelon, which is a huge tiled staircase in Lapa. It was made by Chilean-born artist Jorge Celerón, and people bought him tiles from all over the world to contribute to the staircase. Next, we ascended into Santa Teresa to check out a viewpoint in an old building there. We're here to try feijoada, a really popular dish in Rio.
You should say all the sentence in Portuguese.
Estamos aqui para comer feijoada.
E viva a feijoada brasileira.
Viva Brasil!
Feijoada is made with black beans and various pork parts.
Agora só português. Vamos lá.
Esta feijoada é muito bom, caralho.
After being put into a food coma, we headed to Claudia's hood of Niterói across the river to watch the sunset from Parque da Cidade. We're finishing our day off here in Niterói to view the amazing sunset over Rio.
Pôr do sol no Parque da Cidade.
Claudia, obrigado por tudo.
Uhul, de nada.
The paragliders jumped off the mountain of Parque da Cidade in Niterói in what was the end to a perfect day. After Rio, I took a 3-hour bus to the city of Engenheiro Passos, where I plan to volunteer for a week in the Atlantic rainforest here. So what we're doing with this project is, all of this used to be pristine forest, except people clear it for pastures. And that leaves around all of this vegetation here. Left untended, this pretty much grows and it looks like overgrown grass, and none of the native plants or none of the forest can regrow. So first we got to chop all this grass down, and then we're going to dig holes and plant banana trees. So when these banana trees grow, their foliage is going to spread and pretty much block all the sunlight from getting to this shitty grass. That way, underneath the banana trees, the native plants and the native vegetation can start to grow again, and in about 40-50 years time we'll start to see a new forest reborn here. We also got to try harvesting some bananas.
Each banana tree only produces once, so when the bananas are ripe, you chop it down with a machete and then let the daughter and the granddaughter, which will sprout out from the same tree root, take root and grow.
So everybody picks a little.
Let's have a look.
There's a bunch left.
Yeah.
The property here was absolutely spectacular, with lots of waterfalls and native plants. It backs onto a national park, but Connie, the owner, wants to reclaim all the forest lost on her property and make it a national park with eco-education for school students. Such an amazing vision. Alright, this is the native rainforest lime challenge. Don't be deceived, even though it's orange, it's very much a lime. It's really good.
No way!
It's awesome.
Oh my god.
There's also a natural swimming pool where you can enjoy the freezing cold water of the rainforest. Right here we've got these natural swimming pools on the property. The water flows from the top of the creek and enters this catchment zone, and then it kind of flows off like an infinity pool. Fuck. This is so fucking cold. Dois, três. Oh, that was absolutely freezing, but you get a mad endorphin rush from the cold water. In the kitchen, making some feijoada for dinner, which is like a Brazilian stew with pork, sausage, and beans. It actually turned out to be alright for a gringo feijoada. And we enjoyed a nice sunset over the mountains. Oh, looks like it's time to wake up. Bom dia! I'm going to be here on Ilha Grande, literally the big island. Located about 200 kilometers from Rio, this island is a haven for nature lovers. There are no roads on this island, so here I'm going to show you 4 different hikes you can do. Local Brazilian Rodrigo from Minas Gerais joined me on my first hike here to Dois Rios, an old penal colony on the island. Unfortunately, I couldn't film much because it rained all day. Okay, so we're here in Dois Rios, and it was a penal colony. There was a big maximum security prison set up here. And so on Ilha Grande, before any tourism came to the island, it was all just a prison to keep the most dangerous people in Brazil confined to this island. They were made to work like really hard labor and things like that. It wasn't a very fun life. Bom dia, bem-vindo a Miles Around the Globe. Mais informação, mais aventura e mais Brasil. Hoje vamos a Saco do Sul com estes amigos brasileiros. Olá! Olá! Vai, vai, vai! Okay, so we actually didn't make it to Saco do Sul, but we did make it to FEITICEIRA waterfalls. Along the way, there was a spooky abandoned prison, but this time you could actually go in it and explore rather than checking out a museum.
Então, como vocês podem ver, aqui a gente pode ver.
Also along the way was an incredible natural swimming pool that was a little too cold to swim in. Eu tenho sapato, mas ele tem nada. Vocês cansados?
Nada!
Eu estou aqui na cascada do FEITICEIRA. We finally made it to the waterfalls and decided to take a cool plunge in the icy water. This hike was probably one of my favourites on the island. because of all the cool stuff you could see along the way. So today we're going on an adventure to Lopes Mendes, which is Ilha Grande's only surf beach. It's about a 2.5 hour walk, but I've been given the job of being the porter for the surfboard, so I'm going to go and take the boat. Lopes Mendes was voted as one of the best beaches in Brazil, and when we arrived, it wasn't hard to see why. Exposed to the southern swells of the Atlantic, it was time for me to have my first photo shoot in the Atlantic Ocean and check out some of the locals and tourists shredding here. Despite some closeouts, there were definitely a couple of fun ones to be had. Alright, so tomorrow morning I'm going to hike Pico de Papagaio, which is the highest point in Ilha Grande, and I'm going to leave at 3 AM to try and catch the sunrise. So I've got snacks, camera, let's go, good night. Alright, it's 3 AM. It's time to start this fucking hike. So the hike to the peak is 5.1 kilometers long, which sounds alright, but it's a 1 kilometer ascent to the top. So I'm not sure how this is gonna go. There we go. Pico de Papagaio. The first part of the trail was lit, now it's pretty much black. So this is where we branch off. This hike is rated extreme. I didn't film the ascent, mainly because it was pitch black and I was physically exhausted from the hike. When I got to the top, I immediately set up my tripod for a spectacular time lapse of the sunrise. Unfortunately, a tour group were up there as well, so my tripod got knocked around a little, but that's life. What an incredible sunrise. Alright, so that hike was 5.8 kilometers, 9,158 steps, and 210 fucking flights of stairs climbed. Friends from the hostel, Mark and Herbert from Spain and Brazil, had camped up there the previous night and played some tunes as we relaxed on the peak and procrastinated our descent. And sadly, this hike brings an end to my time here in Ilha Grande. It's been an amazing time. The island is absolutely spectacular and there's so much untouched nature here. It's beautiful. Next up, I'm going to Parachi for another adventure there. Welcome to the beautiful colonial town of Parachi. Established in 1500 as a Portuguese colonial town, Parachi is one of the major tourist destinations in the state of Rio de Janeiro. The town boasts incredible architecture along with some of the most difficult cobblestone roads that I've ever walked on. Apart from exploring the old town, there's actually not much to do in the city itself. All the attractions lie within the surrounding forest. Usually, this means taking lots of expensive tours, but luckily, Parachi has an excellent local bus network. Today, we're going to Cachoeira da Taboga, literally the toboggan waterfall. Some people take a jeep tour to get here for 70 reais, but we just caught the 5 reais bus to Peña and got off and walked a few minutes, and it's easy. There's an amazing 13-meter cliff jump and also a natural water slide. It's dangerous. I shouldn't have done that. Alright, next up we're here at this awesome natural water slide. Right, mate, what's the verdict? How was it?
Oh, class, man. Really good. Just hold your nose next time.
There were some crazy locals showing off sliding on their feet, doing heaps of jumps and tricks. The guy at our hostel said that every year they host a competition here to see who can lay claim to the best slide surfer in Parachi.
He was lying on the floor in the middle of
Alright, so this place is completely decked out for gringos because a short walk from the waterfalls, there's a cachaça distillery. Cachaça is the national drink of Brazil. It is almost like a rum made with sugarcane. First, the juice from the cane is extracted and fermented with yeast to produce alcohol. The mixture then enters the distiller and the alcohol is evaporated. This pure alcohol is then mixed with water to achieve the desired proof and left to age for 2 to 8 years in these barrels. Different types of wood are used to produce different flavours. Alright, Doug, what does it smell like?
This will be good for your
Very stiff. Like a, so describe it like a cheap rum. Like you had to smell Bacardi.
Is it okay if choice?
It's very, very sharp.
Chocolate.
Okay. Yes, I remember you can do
Yeah, I went to
So it's like it's got that like vodka warmth to it with a bit of a bite afterwards, like a sweet bite. But it's very, very drinkable.
Could say something extremely insightful about this alcohol, but I can't because I don't know what I'm talking about.
I've tried it.
Delicious.
Is that me? It's a video picture. Oh, okay, it's a video.
Our next day trip was to Praia do Sono. It was a 40-minute bus ride to Villa Oratorio, then a nice easy 1-hour hike to reach the beach. The vibe here was super chilled, and we set up a picnic and appreciated the incredible scenery. Cheap, fresh, homemade sandwiches for lunch. What a win. Today, we're going to Trindade to check out the natural pools and the beach there. To be honest, Trindade was a bit of a letdown. There were a few people surfing, but it was pretty average and there were lots of closeouts. Then I tried to go to the natural pools, but there were so many people there and nowhere to sit. Of these 3 day trips, this was easily the worst one and I wouldn't recommend it. This brings my time here in the state of Rio de Janeiro to an end. It's been an incredible month here. To finish this video up, I'm just gonna say one thing. The city of Rio is easily one of the most beautiful cities I've ever visited and has the potential to be the #1 tourist destination in the world. But first, the Brazilian government needs to sort its shit out and fix the vast inequality present here between the poverty in the favelas and the cariocas living in the penthouses of Zona Sul. And only then will the safety improve in Rio and the city can reach its full potential.